everybody, welcome Eric. This is Eric. Their gender pronouns are they, them, right?
Yep.
And they, them are from
I'm from Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas, yes. So this is our guest for today, y'all. This just happened naturally. We were on Facebook. I moved it onto Instagram. Just to give you a little follow-up on what we're going to discuss is about a Hinge incident that seems to happen often in the trans community and gender non-conforming individuals. And so I want to discuss about it with Eric because Eric, they disclosed to me and brought to my attention as well that there was someone as well that got banned, which I had no idea of, which they're both famous actresses in Hollywood, which their names are Laverne Cox and Tracy Lissette. And they as well were banned off of this app called Hinge. Is a dating app that also is inclusive to the LGBTQIA community. And I kind of found it kind of baffling because how can you be so inclusive to the community, but then there's no type of representation or protection for us when it comes to the accusations or the conversations that these men try to have with us specifically. So I wanted to bring Eric on here to talk more about their experience because they also have experience. What I experienced, I got banned from Hinge. I made a post about it on Facebook. So, Eric, tell us a little bit more about your experience.
Yeah, so I joined Hinge and I was like really excited to do it because I've been looking for like a really inclusive dating platform platform to go on, and I had heard a lot about Hinge from some friends and they thought it was great, and I was like, okay, because previously I was on Grindr and I just found it not to be the right place for me now. I would get a lot of like chasers and a lot of people looking for more like feminine identified people, and that was like their fetish, and that's not what I'm here for. I'm actually looking for love and like respect.
Yeah.
And so I went on Hinge and I said, when you sign up, you can put your own gender identity there. And they did have an option for non-binary. So I thought, oh, this is great. And then the next question was, what gender do you want your matches to be interested in? And the only thing it had was men or women.
Right.
And that then now reduced me to simply like genitals or, sex assigned at birth. And since I am non-binary, I don't fall within the binary of male or female. Right. And I picked male because, that's what I was assigned at birth. Then I thought this doesn't make sense because all of the people that are going to be matched with me will be looking for men, and that's not me. So I would have much rather had a choice to pick that my matches would be into non-binary or trans people, and it was immediately like a red flag that this was veiled, what's the word? Inclusiveness from the company, because
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like, I hadn't even gone on to the app yet. I just had been signing up, and I was already like, this is already a waste of time. And then my matches, like, I got a few, but a lot of them had a lot of questions, and, I'm all for learning and teachable moments,
right.
But that wasn't really what I was looking to do then, Right,
it's a dating app. It's not, hey, I'm here to educate you.
Right, right.
Definitely. I love that you mentioned and you're bringing this up because I think that with having the option to what your matches want to match with saves the issues and the problems with our community because I feel like if there was to have an option to having a choice for who you want to approach you, then we would not be having constant reports because that's what's happening. A lot of these toxic masculinity men feel like we don't belong in these spaces. And so because they might have come across our page and probably their dick got hard, let's be real, because these motherfuckers are super thirsty on these apps and they jump into your inbox not with a greeting, but very vulgar and disrespectful. And so that just lets you know that, there's no respect, there's no protection
Mm-hmm.
for trans people and gender non-binary people because there isn't no introduction when messaging us, and I think that having this option would save us from having men like that approach us. And another thing I noticed with dating app is like they contact us without reading our profiles.
Right.
And it's just like, you're mad because you didn't read my profile, so now you feel a need to go report my page. Because that's what's really, I feel like that's what's happening. Because this has happened before, but I've never really put so much energy as I am putting right now with talking about it on social media, writing about it, emailing them. Because at one point I just feel like, whatever, I guess this is not a space for me. And I'm just saving myself from like all of these men that are just the same type of man, just a different type of face, different type of dick. And it's just like, what am I getting out of this? It's not what I'm looking for. And it just goes to show you that we have such a long way to go when it comes to trans attracted men. Because from speaking from my experience, of course, I just feel like, they just feel that trans people, gender non-binary, or even gay, lesbian, anybody that falls under the LGBTQ community, they feel like we're these sexual, but we are individuals that are not just sex. Yes, we can be sex symbols, but that's not who we are. That's not what we want to do. That's not what we're on the app for. And people need to start having respect. And I mentioned in the email when I replied to Hinge, like I really feel like you guys need to have a panel because they have so many of these. I checked out their platform, and on their platform they have like conversations about just dating and how it's been with COVID-19 and etc. But where have you included the trans community? Where have you included gender non-binary people? Where have you included gay, bisexual, lesbian, anybody in the LGBT community? You have not included. I have not seen anything like that. And so I feel like there has to be a conversation about that and whether to like have this stop. And then when people have these experiences and they reach out to them, they don't respond. So what do you think that, what are the steps that you think that we can have them really partake and really show up?
I think if I'm correct in my research of the app, it was created by straight cis people, or a guy, which is great.
His name is Justin something. I had someone put his name under one of the comments.
And I think that men have such a culture on dating apps of not saying hello and sending a dick pic first.
Oh.
And I think that is, I mean, that's across every dating platform I've ever been on. Tinder, Grindr, Scruff, Match.com, like things like that are, I mean, it's just men need to learn how to talk to other individuals on a dating app that's respectful and worthy of an actual conversation. And it doesn't make sense. And I think that as trans people and non-binary people, I think our experiences, like, we're already going into this dating situation with a lot of fear, a lot of trepidation, and a lot of like
Anxiety.
pause, because it's scary. You know, if we're not going to be sexualized and we're not going to be fetishized, we could be murdered or beat up or, you know, assaulted and all these things, and or tricked. You know, some guy could say he's interested in us and we get there and then it just goes bad. And what do? We willingly went there, you know, and we already know that law enforcement sees us as, you know, sometimes, I mean, they don't take us seriously at all. And I think, so what Hinge could do, I think Hinge, if they're going to say that they're inclusive and say that they are a platform for everyone, I think they need to really start having like conversations with queer people, trans people, non-binary people, gay people, lesbians, like everyone in the LGBTQIA community, and really figure out what our unique issues are. Because I think every letter within that LGBTQIA has specific needs. Specifically for trans and non-binary people, I think we have probably the most, I mean, we are the most marginalized groups of people, especially people like you and I, who are people of color. Yes. And I think it's just an awareness that I think the app probably didn't think about when it was being designed. And they thought about it a little bit, but like not fully
doing the actual work.
Right. They heard some buzzwords here and there, and, you know, put, oh, non-binary, great, trans, great, but like they don't probably have any staff that's trans or non-binary. They probably didn't do any product testing with community. And I think that that needs to happen, because clearly there's a long list of people that have had issues on the platform.
It's ridiculous. You know, it's sad that we have to, with all the many other experiences that we go through, and then to feel like we try to find a safe space into dating, especially in these times of COVID-19. Yeah. We all want to have the luxury and the experience of dating, with being inclusive with that experience and what that's like. And so I know for most of us, we feel like that might be the only way that we can interact and possibly meet someone who has the potential that we look for. But then again, there's hardly any potential in these dating apps when it comes to what you're looking for, a decent person with respect, morals, values, and communication. But
and understand basically who we are.
Right, exactly. Because like you mentioned, you know, the questions, and, you know, once they read that you are trans, it's like they're asking these inappropriate questions that go into like, well, do you want to get to know me, or you want to get to know what's between my legs? Yeah. Because regardless if I had a vagina or not, like, that should not matter, because it's not like I'm giving you the kitty or whatever that's between my legs. It's not like you're getting that right away. So why does it even matter? Because I'm an old school type of girl. I always believed in like getting to know someone, dating before getting into a relationship, and then, you know, and then becoming intimate. So no, because man is like, you have to become intimate sexually and then get to know them, and it's just like it's backwards. It's basically backwards. So I'm just like, that's one thing. And then another thing that I feel like is very dangerous as well, when you decline and deny these men who pop in your inbox, and, you know, they start off with communication very nice, and then start going into the conversations of like, you know, saying nasty things in comments, such as like, where you from? And I'm like, okay, I'm from DR, Puerto Rico, and Cuban. And he's like, that's so sexy. I want some of that cream. And I'm just like, what? Who says that? You know? Like, who says that? And now you're just sexualizing me. And now I see where you stand and what you're trying to get out of me. And so when you put those people in their place, because I feel like I'm the type that most of the time I usually just unmatch and report. But then sometimes I feel like I have to say something because I don't want them to get the wrong type of message when it comes to my community. That everyone is out there looking for sex and sexually exploiting themselves on dating apps. Because that's the kind of vision that they have when it comes to us. And so I feel the need to sometimes say something, and specifically I spoke about the specific person that I felt like I had to say something. And what was his response? His response was many of the responses that we get from other men when you decline them, no. Or when you tell them this is not right, this is disrespectful, that's not how you approach someone. And then that's when they start like transphobically harassing you, saying all these types of things, putting religious beliefs into it, you're an abomination, and all of these things. And I'm just like, oh my God, you're so toxic and you're so fresh. It's like, what? like the minute ago, you just wanted me. Like, you just wanted to, you was already sexualizing me, but then you was trying to have me in that way. So it's sick. It's freaking sick. That 1 minute, and it shows a great example of how the violence occurs in the trans community from they wanting you and then you declining them that because there's another thing that I've studied from men who feel that they are entitled to have you because ain't nobody else wants you. And so because I want you, you need to honor that bitch. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Who are you? You're not gonna.
You know, I think that men in general have, having identified as a man for 34, 35 years, and as a cis gay man, yeah, sex is a big part of that culture and a big part of that life, and straight men too. But it's like it's
Time and
not.
place.
You what? Yeah,
Time and place.
yeah. And
You
it's
know?
like, it has taken me so long, 35 years, to figure out who I am as a human being. And it has taken me a very long time to get comfortable in my body with, like, I was telling a friend of mine this, who's actually watching right now, that when I came out as non-binary, something that happened for me was that toxic body image stress that I had as a gay man completely went away. And I just like was at peace with my body, like my weight and my that kind of stuff. And because there was so much stress to look a certain way and be a certain way. And like I look back at like my whole gender journey and I'm like, there's so many things that would have been so much easier for me if I'd come to this place a little sooner. But like now that I'm here, I expect a partner to fully respect everything about me, including my mind, my body, my choices, my, everything. And it's almost like these apps don't need a conversation about how to deal with like trans people or non-binary people. They almost need a conversation on how to deal with people.
Right.
Like human to human interaction.
Definitely. Absolutely.
And there's a time, yes, when I am ready to like prowl and pounce and like that's what I'm looking for. But then there's the majority of the time when I log on to a dating app, I'm looking to date. I'm not looking, I can, do whatever in my own personal time. Momentary intimacy, as I like to call it. But like, it's just, there's so many barriers already in our way as trans and non-binary individuals that,
for sure,
that it's just, I mean, I don't have the perfect answer, but I do think at least starting that conversation with these companies
Definitely.
is the
The
first
first
step.
step.
I mean, Laverne Cox and Trace were like, they were banned from this app, and like the excuse that this company gave, which, well, we didn't think it was you. I mean, okay, I can see that, but reach out to the account holder. You know, like, it's just rooted in
Bullshit. So what
bullshit
about
and
what they
transphobia.
didn't think? Okay. So let's get really into it, right? If they didn't think that was dumb, so what about all of the other many trans people or gender non-binary people who got bans? Oh, you didn't think they were dumb either?
Right, right. You know,
Please.
I
Their
respect.
responses sound so redundant, like Jessica mentioned, your friend. Because when they responded to me, it was very redundant. Like, well, we need to take proper investigation to see why you got banned and see proper protocols and such and such. And I'm just like, excuse me, there's no need to do no investigation because what you're not understanding here, and this is why the conversations are important, is that these men are reporting us simply for us being who we are and stating that we're trans. So it goes to show you whether we disclose it or not, we're not safe, we're not protected. And so what is the app doing to protect us? Because we continue to get banned.
And it's not like this is a new thing for us. This is,
Right.
there doesn't need to be a long investigation. We can tell you exactly what happened. You know,
Right.
it's
Hey.
we have lived this same scenario over and over and over. Like,
Mhm.
it's not brain surgery. And I think that goes across all platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know, I
Definitely.
we've both worked with both of these companies. I saw the photo of you at the Facebook New York offices. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, and like, I love the platforms. They have embraced me and my nonprofit, and I love that. But there is a lot of work to do across all of these different platforms with the
I
way
agree
that
100%.
with the way that we're treated and the way that things are reported, or
Mm-hmm.
like, we'll put something about white people and hate and murder and discrimination, and my account will get flagged for hate speech, but I'm calling out hate speech, the actual hate speech in the comments of my thing. That's what
Right.
should be banned, not me.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
So it's like I totally agree, and I absolutely feel like there needs to be not only investigation when somebody gets banned or before you ban somebody, but do the investigation on why are you going to ban this person? What was the reason specifically when it comes to the LGBTQA community, more the trans community and the gender non-binary community as well, because those are the ones that are mostly targeted.
Yeah.
And they need to have these conversations with their corporates and have a board meeting on it and include trans and gender non-binary people in these spaces to better these apps for us because a lot of us use it. A lot of us use it. A lot of us are looking for love. A lot of us are looking for connection. And so, how can we do that when you promote this is the place to find someone out of millions? But how can we do that when one, like I said, you're not protecting us, you're not properly investigating and looking into these cases where a lot of us are getting banned more than ever. So doesn't it make you question like what's going on here? What am I not missing? What am I missing? What can I do to better this situation for this part of the community? Like, I wonder if they ask themselves that. And that's why I feel like they just slapping a certain gender or option on their app is just like, okay, here, throw a little bit for the crocodiles and they'll be fine. Like, no, you don't do that. And there's something about that when it comes to community and platforms where they just throw things. They just throw the word transgender, non-binary, and say I'm an ally and I'm showing up and I'm being inclusive. That does not being inclusive. Being inclusive means, okay, I'm going to include you, but I'm also going to continue to have the conversations. I'm going to have candidates who are part of the community come up to my platform to better the situation, meaning including them in board meetings, because clearly you don't get it.
Yeah, and tokenization, like, so this is something that's happened to me. So I came out as non-binary in January, so it's been about 8 months now.
Wow,
And
congrats.
thank you. And it's, it's been a very long journey to get here. And I knew about maybe 2 years before I said anything, but I
Mhm.
was just kind of like wanting to make sure before I
Right.
made some big announcement because of the work that I'm in and all that. But um, ever since I came out, about probably 12 national and local organizations have reached out to me going, hey, we need you on our board, we need you on our advisory board, or we want you to be part of this organization because you fit this and this box now. And I'm like, okay, so that's called tokenization, and that's called, putting us in leadership positions that you're going to take our information and our mind and our lived experience,
Mhm.
but we're not getting paid for it. We're not getting compensated appropriately. We are not actually making decisions,
Right.
and it's frustrating. But I think that as people of color, we are stepping into leadership positions, and we are
We're
saying,
demanding it.
yeah, we're saying, you know what, we don't just want a seat at the table, we want to be at the head of the table. And a
Right.
lot of us have had to start our own organizations because of that.
Mhm.
And it's, but going back to the dating thing, like, it's just, you're right. Like, I think we just need to be in the room more. And
Mhm.
and a lot of people, when we because we are trans and non-binary, because we are people of color, people, a lot of times when we express our frustrations and things that we're upset about, people go, oh, they're playing the what do you call that,
The victim
the
or
victim, they're the
want
victim.
some petty.
Right, but like, no, we're just exhausted from having
Exhausted.
to deal with this stuff
Exhausted.
all the time. Like, something as simple as human interaction looking for love. I mean, that's not simple,
Right.
but I
But
mean,
for example, they wouldn't do like for a cis person to cis person, they wouldn't have that experience.
right,
It will
right,
be a little bit more easier. It will
yeah,
be the conversation a little bit more naturally and more respected
yeah,
because a cis man is not going to approach a cis woman with that type of form. Not to say they will, because they do. The same interaction they have with trans women, they will with cis women. But I feel like with cis women, they play a little bit more safer.
mm-hmm, yeah,
Where with trans women, they feel like, okay, you know, she's vulnerable. I'm gonna take advantage of that, and she might give in. And that's something else that I want to talk about because I used to be vulnerable at one point. We all have, especially identifying as trans or gender non-binary. It's easy to fall for someone who can sell you a dream and a fantasy. And when you are in a space in your life where you feel you're not wanted and that nobody accepts you for you or continues to sexualize you, um, the one person that you might finally meet and you fall for that person, but they happen to be the same exact person that I'm now to see now, that I'm able to see now, that I'm able to see right through them, and it's just like, damn, this is crazy. So to all my trans brothers and sisters and gender non-binary people, I'm here to tell you that be careful. Be careful who you speak to. Be careful who you fall for, because sometimes, the majority of times, they don't really have your best interests. They really don't. They want to see what they can get out of you, whether that's sexually, for most part, because once they finally get it, it's just like they throw you to the curb and you never hear from them again. Or they're just trying to leech over you so you can take care of them, or rob you, or little to getting murdered and tricking you because you're trans. So, going back to like disclosing trans identity and gender non-binary, um, from one, I want to get something very clear here, that that's something that you don't need to disclose. That is up to you and your decision to disclose, if that's what you want to do. Because let me tell you something, especially now, the times that we're living in right now, where I feel like this administration has given the willpower and the okay to the people that have so much hate in their heart to show their true colors against our community, against colorism, against all of these different things that we've been seeing throughout this country. I feel like it has added so much violence and all the current events that are taking place. And it's not happening because we're not disclosing we're trans. Trust me, they know that we're trans. They know. They know that we're trans. And even if we don't disclose, sometimes it's their prerogative to not say something, and for their safety to not say something, because guess what? Regardless if you do say something or you don't, you're still not going to be safe. You're still not going to be protected. So where do we go from there? It's just so many different aspects, right? When it comes to our community. And I feel like Hinge and dating apps, that's the part that they don't get.
Yeah, it's, we I have an idea of the kind of partner I want and the kind of relationship I want to be in, and you're so right. Sometimes we fall for the one person that does show us a fragment of the list of things that we deserve.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's, I mean, I just keep going back to we're exhausted. Like, you have to think about, or a lot of us have to think about, when we walk out our front door, if we're going to make it home.
Yes.
Like, uh, yeah. Have you dated? When did you transition? How long ago?
Oh, a decade ago. I'm 30 now, so yeah, like 10 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, and again, it's been the same experience from 10 years ago to now. Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Nothing at all has changed. I can say that now, the difference with now is they're more, honestly, I think has been the same this whole time, because even 10 years ago, they were very upfront, very vulgar, and didn't even like waste no time. They got straight to it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember being on, God, you're 34?
30.
30. Okay, sorry. I'm 35. I'm 35, and I remember being on like Planet Out and all these sites, and yeah, it's exactly the same. I think it's always been so sexualized and so just,
Dating apps, period, too. Like they all have been that way, right?
yeah.
But
Like, I wish the commercials for these apps would show that. Like,
you
that would
know,
be that would be part of the narrative.
a
Like,
percentage.
yeah, because it's sad
That,
that's
that
how.
means people will have to continue. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
I feel like that would mean people need to like do their part in reporting, and then these dating apps collecting and analyzing statistics and numbers on the reports. What are the reports of?
Yeah,
Right? To then come to a common ground, like, okay. But I think they know that. If they know that, like they know that they were fucking oblivious to like what's going behind the apps, and then they want to play redundant on like when you do reach out to them and just like, okay, this is what's going on. And they're just like, oh, but we got to proper investigate. But I haven't heard from you for a week.
Yeah.
Today is it's about to be a week. Tomorrow makes a week.
Yeah, Jessica, I think, is still waiting for an answer.
And it's crazy that Jessica already sent him an email. This happened before this happened to me. And she hasn't gotten a response, and I gotten a response the next day. This happened on a Friday. But this happened on a Thursday. And then Friday's when I found out I got banned. And then Saturday I spoke about it. And that's when I sent out an email Saturday morning. And here I am. I replied that day, Saturday. And today is Thursday and no reply.
Yeah. When you on dating apps, do you ever worry that, like, do you put your full name?
No, I just put my first name.
Okay.
And I don't attach my social media.
Yeah.
But with the thing with Hinge, you could attach your social media without them seeing your handle.
Yeah.
But what I worry about is that not only for myself, but for my community as well, where you deny these men these sexual desires that they want with you, when you say no, or you let them know about themselves, you let them know that that is not okay, they become very violent with words and the words they choose against you. And so that worries me because a lot of the men are like in the area, right?
Yeah.
You're connecting with men in the area.
Yeah.
Who are close miles away from you. And so that's again going back to protection. And you know what I'm saying? That person might say such and such things to you, but you feel like, okay, yeah, we'll never run into each other. But what if they do? What if they do? What if we do run into each other one day? And I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting for you at the door.
Yeah. I mean, that happens all the time. This was years ago when I lived in Manhattan, and I was talking to this guy on one of the apps, and, you know, nothing really happened with the conversation, but I was walking down the street, and he stopped me and goes, "Oh my God, you're Eric from the app." And I was like, "Oh God, hi. You know, like, but you're right. These men are in our area, like, and especially in Manhattan and cities where public transportation and walking is a big thing. Like, you're gonna run into these people, and also, like, you're very Googleable. You know, if you Google your name, a lot of stuff comes up. A lot of us in trans spaces, we do a lot of work that is public, and I mean, not so much now, but when we were in normal life, when we were doing events and being at places, like, it's very easy to figure out where we are.
Yes.
You know? Like,
and that's why, like, I express to my trans sisters and brothers and just anyone in particular, like, when you're at a space, don't post until you leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can save it on your Insta, you know, save it, take the picture, you can add the location or whatever, just save it. But once you leave, then post it. Because at the same time, again, we have to continue to express this. Nobody's protecting us.
Right.
Perfect example with the 3 women who were attacked and robbed in Hollywood, California, where they called for the sheriffs, they called for police. There were standbys, did nothing but humiliated them. And so that's a great example of how much we are protected and how much people aren't doing anything for us to protect us. So it's the same thing with dating apps. You know what I mean? Someone can feel some type of way and say things like, I want you and this and that. But again, there's something about even cis women go through this situation. Again, when I speak from my experience as a trans woman. I notice that when a woman says no to a man, he becomes so aggressive, so violent, and oh, you bitch and hoe and slut and this and that. oh, fuck you, like all of these things. And it's just like, wow, why are you so angry? Like, bitch, you're not entitled to me. How dare you?
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, you just sent me a picture of your penis,
Right,
and now
right.
you're calling me all these names.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I just, there's so much work. There's so much work. And when I say work, this means work that's going to take years, maybe a decade or two, because there's so much that we have to unfold
Mm-hmm.
that has been happening already for centuries.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to do, but at least we started somewhere and we're getting somewhere. And the only way by doing that is coming with full force and demand.
Yeah. And I hope that that Hinge writes back to you, and I hope that they start a conversation with our communities, because it's far past time. Like
Yes.
we're here, you know,
Yes.
we exist. So if you're going to say that your app is inclusive and it's for everyone, then you really need to have done the work to make sure that those systems are in place.
Exactly. Absolutely. 100%. I want to thank you, Eric, for joining
Yeah.
and having a discussion about this, because I've been wanting to come on my platform, to talk about it. And just thank you so much, y'all. Guys, and just remember to be kind to one another. And always remember that we're all fighting a battle here. All different walks of life, race are being attacked, specifically people of color and transgender, non-binary. So thank you once again, love.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Bye bye.